Hare Krishna. We will begin our last day of our SOS. Today we'll have multiple presentations. We have the Motel, I'm going from the last to the first. Last we'll have Motel Gita presentation by His Grace Mayapur Bihari Prabhu. Before that we'll have a presentation by Kameshwari Devi Dasi for the Kids Sankirtan. And we'll start off with Shraddha Mataji, Her Grace Shraddha Devi Dasi, who is going to walk us through the presentation of Corporate Sankirtan. Shraddha Mataji is a pioneer for this Corporate Sankirtan. This was never done before. This is a groundbreaking invention by her and her team. She has a very, very small team of devotees. One of them is His Grace Mukharvinda Prabhu, and there are a couple more who have just joined last year. But they single-handedly cover the entire Corporate Sankirtan. And by doing this Corporate Sankirtan, they are attracting so many people towards Krishna consciousness by careful follow-up. And everybody would like to donate for some cause. And she has developed a formula, a recipe, on how to attract everyone, including the workplace, towards Krishna consciousness and help with various projects. And this is the biggest Shastradan program that we have here at ISV, and they bring tremendous amount of Lakshmi for book distribution. And she herself has come to Krishna consciousness through Smartbox. She received a book from Smartbox, and she just started late in her career, I would say, but as soon as she came in contact with this book, she immediately shot up like a cannon, and now she teaches many people. She takes conference calls and teaching everybody Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Without further ado, Her Grace Shraddha Devi Dasi, she's presenting the Corporate Sankirtan. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mali Mataji. And so if there's a word called pioneer of the pioneer, then, it goes to Mali Mataji, because she brought me into book distribution in the first place. So like that. So let's give a big round of applause to Malini Mataji. So I'll start with the prayer to the Guru Tattva. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Jakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Thank you so much for joining this call. You all had a very long day yesterday, but still you showed up, so you vote by your feet. So thank you so much for that, and thank you also to the little kids over there. It's always nice to have children in the audience, because they are the future of book distribution. They are the ones who are going to join corporate America in no short time. And then it's better to get started earlier in their career. So today I'm going to talk to you about the ISV corporate book distribution, which is the team itself. So I just wanted to acknowledge His Grace Vaisheshika Das Prabhu, without whose will and without his guidance and inspiration, and not a leaf moves in ISKCON of Silicon Valley. Whatever we are today, we owe to him. Then I also like to introduce my team. Mukharvinda Das Prabhu is sitting over here. And then Radha Kripa Das, who's watching online, Mayank Agarwal and his wife Suman Kukriti. And then we had a recent addition in the form of Sadhana Ellen Mataji there. I would like to thank my team for working so hard and against very strict timelines. And also I'd like to thank the book distribution team leaders for inspiring us and enabling us to do this book distribution. And then, of course, last but not the least, I also wanted to thank the back-end volunteers, because we just go out, talk in the corporation, but there's a lot that goes behind the scenes, like how do the books appear, how orders are placed, how books are shipped, and things like that. So, so hats off and a thanks to them as well. So We have a reference manual for this team, and it is Our Family Business, the Great Art of Distributing Srila Prabhupada Books, written by His Grace Vaishya Sri Das Prabhu. In case you don't have a book, then you can contact Mukharvinda, and if your congregation doesn't have a book, then he'll be very happy to ship cartons to your place. So talk to him after the class is done. So on today's menu, and I really wanted to have the kids over here. So what do we have on today's menu? There on the screen. Can you recognize what it is? M&Ms, exactly right. Okay, so there are lots of M&Ms, and so we're going to have a rainbow diet of M&M on how to be successful in corporate book distribution. But we won't be very greedy, because just take as much as has been set aside as your quota. She is the Isha Panishta. So we're just going to take 6 of the M&Ms. Are you going to keep count of that for me? Okay, very good. So we're just going to take 6 of them. And so let's go into the corporate America, and let's see the need of why do we have to do book distribution there. So if I were to draw a symbolic representation of a corporate employee, having myself spent about 35 years in corporations, both here in America as well as back in India, this picture comes close to describing how employees are and what situation they are. Do you agree? If you do, then give me a Haribol. Haribol, there you go. Right, so we have crocodile on our feet, and the crocodile could be in the form of a boss. It could be also in the form of a subordinate. It could be in the form of a customer, a client, a partner, anybody who's giving you grief there. So then the question arises that, how do you get liberated from this crocodile which is at our leg there? Corporations are not going to change, so we have to use some different formula to be able to survive. The liberation is not that, some Sudarshan Chakra is going to come and, cut it off. We have to devise means on, how we liberate ourselves if we are working in organizations, and also how we liberate others who are over there. So the prime reason why we do book distribution in corporate America is that we want the people who are there, who are in pretty miserable conditions, that they take to Krishna consciousness and they improve their lives that way. It's not about leaving an organization, it's not about leaving companies and going this place and that place. The idea is thane sthita, wherever you are situated, you try to improve your condition over there. So that's the main premise on which we operate. So we're going to start with 2 mantras to do that, and that means that we're going to pick up how many from the 6? 2, right? So you're keeping count of that, so 2 are gone. So there are 2 mantras that we're going to use for that. And the first one is by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. In one of his songs, he says, Grihe ba vanete thake, ha gauranga bole dhake, right? And so it says that, whenever one is situated in the forest, and Prabhupada translates that in the Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto, he says, whenever one is situated in the forest, or if he is situated in the home, but if he is engaged in devotional service of Lord Chaitanya, then he is a liberated person. So we got the recipe, we got the formula right there from Srimad Bhagavatam, right? If you want to be liberated, then you should be engaged in the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya. So Gauranga is the word for us. Can you give me a Gauranga real quick? Gauranga, louder. Gauranga. Even louder. Gauranga. That's better. Okay, thank you so much for that. So if I were to draw a stress spectrum, right? And obviously, Srila Narottam Das Thakur in all his wisdom knew that, there is some stress involved, whether you are in the household or whether you are in a forest, right? Grihe or vane, wherever you are, there is some stress which is involved there. And all that you have to do is to take shelter of Gauranga and, recite the names of Gauranga. So we know the stress can increase for, as you go and leave the confines of your home and the comfort of your home and you go to the forest, there is some stress. Now, some of you might say that, it's the other way around, but that's fine. I'm not going to go there. And, but my question to you is that, if I were to draw and put corporate America on the spectrum, where do you think it's going to reside? Somewhere in between? Right? Everywhere. I like that answer. Yeah, so Srila Narottam Das Thakur knew that, and of course, he comes from a princely family. He was the son of a king, but he decided he gave that up because he knows that managing kingdoms and managing corporations is a very difficult thing to do. And actually, corporate America lies somewhere beyond the spectrum. It's in the red zone. Because if you look at the life of people, and there is American Stress Institution is there. It does collects a lot of data, and it gets a lot of data from the employee assistant programs. Because the employees are going crazy. They go for assistant. They go to see a psychologist, and there's a lot of data that comes from there. And it said that 40% of the people who work in corporate America, they actually said that they suffer from stress. And 25% of them said it comes from work-related things. I mean, even so much like, there is in the municipalities of Los Angeles and Chicago, New York, those kind of places where if you are in the police department, they recognize work-related stress so much that if you suffer a heart attack, no matter where you are, so you could be in Las Vegas on a weekend, off duty, and playing cards, and if you suffer a heart attack there, they consider it to be a work-related injury. And they compensate you according to that. So there is cognizance, there is recognition. It's just that the missing part is Gauranga, that medicine is missing there. And that's where we come into it. Again, going a little bit into the statistics, 14% of the people said that at some point in time, they wanted to strike somebody at work, but they didn't. And 10% said that they are scared that somebody else will strike them. So that's the environment in which people work there. And so how do we move these people? How do we move these people from who know words like poor or work or fast and things like that? The 4-letter words that they use, and bringing them into a 8-letter word, which is Gauranga, from 4 to 8, how do they go that? So that is where the books come in, because this was a mantra that Vaisheshika Prabhu gave us all, right? So can we all repeat it real quickly together? Yoga and meditation, how to get free from stress, right? So there you go. So that's the second mantra that we have. So we have consumed 2 of the NMM's kids, okay? Just keep on that. So now we know that there's a need, and then of course we need to do book distribution. So we are law-abiding citizens. So corporation's all about that. So the 4 laws of corporate book distribution actually are exactly the same as the 4 laws that Vaisheshika Prabhu mentioned. So I won't spend too much of a time over there. But let's go into the steps that are involved now. How will you do successful book distribution in the corporation? And actually, at this point in time, I've been thinking, and maybe aloud over here to Mali Mataji, that we should change the name of this presentation. It's not just corporate America. Stress is there every place, whether you're a corporation or not, whether you're in a bigger place or whether you're in a smaller place. Like, as it says in Bhagavad Gita, Abhavana Bhavana Loka, Abrahma Bhavana Loka. From here all the way up to Brahma's planet, there is stress and misery everywhere. Same thing applies to work-related things there, because in general, greed and materialism are increasing. So for the 4 steps, I'm going to teach you some mudras on how you do those 4 steps. And for each of those 4 steps, I'm going to take how many M&Ms now? Can you tell me? 4. So how much have you taken now? 2 plus 4 is 6. Okay, so the 6 are gone. So while we go through all these 4 steps, I'm going to give you the 4 mudras that we do. So the first mudra, and all of you can do it together with me, is that there is a horizontal and then there is a vertical over there. So hold your left hand with the circle horizontal and the right hand with the circle and the vertical, and then you bring them together and you connect. Okay, so that's the first mudra. You all are doing it beautifully. So you're good at connection. Okay, like that. And so the connection, how you have to connect lovingly with the people. Everybody is looking for love. Okay, right? Everybody wants to, like Vaisheshika Prabhu was saying, you have to treat people as if they are special, because they are. You have to treat them specially because they are special people. So you can connect, there's so many opportunities that you can connect, their birthdays, their wedding anniversary, the child is born, somebody is sick, their pet is sick, and so on and so forth. You can do that. Somebody is getting married, somebody got promoted. So you should celebrate their success. You should celebrate their success. They could be in a situation, they could be in a dire situation in their work. Technology-wise, or whatever the work they're doing. If they are suffering in that area, you could also be the expert over there. So it's not necessarily that you are the guy, you are the devotional guy, you're the spiritual guy. You could be the material guy as well, and help them there. The idea is to get that trust. They should be trusting you. So how do you come across? Do you come across as a person that they can trust? Do you come across as a person who's smart, a go-getter? Or, are you the lopsy and then, topsy-turvy kind of a person? So we have to connect lovingly, because from there, they will have a trust in you and they will have gratitude. And corporate book distribution runs a lot on gratitude that you build over a period of time. Like over the year, we just spend the first 9 months in developing relationships. We don't do anything to them. So we'll carry the prasadam, we will answer their questions, we'll hold hands, we'll just listen. And one of the things that for you to make the connection is that you have to be a good listener. Do you know how the human ear operates? Anybody? Any biology students over here? How does it operate? Quickly, yeah. Pass her the microphone, please.
Did you say how the human ear operates?
Yes.
Okay. The sound gets into the ear, hits the tympanic membrane, head touches the 3 ossicles in the middle ear, goes to the goes to the inner ear, and then heads out through the nerve to the brain.
Wonderful. Let's give a round of applause to Sukeshwari Mataji. Now, I never studied biology in my life. My mom was a biology teacher. Maybe that was the reason I didn't want to sit in her class.
I get paid to be an audiologist, so I should know.
There you go. So, I have a very simple explanation of how the human ear works. You know, the human ear will start listening only after they have been heard. So people will start listening to you only after they have been heard, right? It'll close, no matter. So they're not interested in how much you know. I could know so many verses in Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. They are only interested in, how much you care for them. So that connection is very, very important to do. And however, as your relationship matures, they will start looking at you as an acharya. You will be the go-to person for their spiritual answers. And that is when you can tell them about the audio canal. And you can also tell them that, how the spiritual thing goes into your ears. And then from there, it goes into the heart, which no biology class is going to teach you that. But that's the truth. That's how it happens there. So the first mudra was, you have to connect lovingly, because one of the things that you keep in mind about sales, and so what are we selling in corporate America? That's a question to think about, right? So, and I'll address that a little later, but if all things being equal, right? So you're getting things from 2 sources, they're exactly the same. So should I buy this little pointer from Malini Mataji, or should I buy it from Amazon.com? So if everything are the same, this is the same price, same everything, I will buy it from her because she's my friend. Right? All things being not equal, she's selling it at a slightly higher price, or hers has a few less features, I will still buy from her because she's my friend. Right? So we have to keep this in mind, that we should be the friendly corporate guy, the little M&M that dances there. So that's what we should be. And then, so coming to, what are we selling? Yes, you have to show your wares. So what are the wares that you're selling? So you are trying to sell ideas. Okay? You're trying to sell ideas there. And so ideas have to be planted, ideas have to be carried over, okay? Carried to the corporations. So you would just want, put them ideas in your pocket, or put your ideas in your brain and then throw it at them. That's not the recommended way of doing it, because you have not heard them, so any amount of talks that you do is not going to get into them. So we will take the ideas to them in containers. Now, ideas come in a special kind of containers. So what are those containers called? They're called, belt it out loudly. They're called books, right? So we will be planting books. So now we have a solid reason that why and how we are going to plant the things there, right? So we have a mudra for that as well. It's a very easy mudra. You will plant the ideas, okay? Now remember, corporate America is full of little jivas who are very open to suggestions. They want to look at, they're very, very open, because all that they know, at least in Silicon Valley, is C++ and Java, machine language, big data, and all that kind of stuff. And none of that is able to solve the problems that they face in life, right? So question is then, where are you going to plant it, right? So you can plant it in your office. It's a very nice place to display. I mean, if you don't believe in books, if you don't believe in what you're selling and you're not willing to display it, then what's the point, right? You should be the first guinea pig for that. So you display the books in your office. You can also plant it in their office. And one of the things that I noticed was that, corporate America has got all kinds of people. And there are people who know about spiritualism, there are people who don't know, people who feel guilty that, their parents were doing it, their grandparents were doing it, and they are not able to do it because they are so busy over here. So they are willing to, kind of just help you out. So they're, okay, I am a little scared. I don't think I'm comfortable putting the books in my office. I won't have the time to read it because I'm so busy, I work and so on and so forth. But they'll be willing to let you display the books in their office. So be it, if they are willing to do that, just go and do that, plant it in an office. Some will be so impressed with the books that they will come and ask you for books, like it happened with me, do you have this, do you have this? I want to put everything over there. And it's okay if the people come across as, they are non-denominational, they'll put a Quran there as well, they'll put a Bible there, that's fine. We do that in Motel Gita. You open the hotel garage and you find drawer and you find everything over there. You can plant it at events. Shri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu, whom you heard yesterday, has been very, very successful with doing this. And this was at Diwali Mela at his office. And I think within a span of half an hour, they sold 6 boxes of Bhagavad Gita. And raised a lot of Lakshmi there as well. You can plant at, other events that you organize in your offices. For example, if there's a diversity day, that's a good place to, pitch in and do some book distribution. I think they sold about 100, more than 100 books. They distributed more than 100 books over there. Now, the problem that comes is that, things are moving and things are changing. Earlier, when we used to go and do book distribution, we would go, just as you went door to door yesterday, we used to go cube to cube and office to office, and we could do book distribution there. But now the walls and boundaries have broken down, so now we have open office. Now, how can you go and talk to a person, without the others listening and you being the disturbing factor and things like that over there? So, well, here's the situation. So we have to face it and come up with other solutions. So you can plant in the cafeteria. There's one place where everybody goes to have lunch, right? So you can have your conversations in the safe confines of having prasadam there. It's also a good point where you can introduce prasadam. Most of the offices that have open office concept, they have small conference rooms where you can have meetings. So you can go and plant there. Now, talking about conference rooms, these offices will have small conference rooms, but they'll also have big conferences room. And with big conference rooms, you can achieve even bigger because you can bring in big devotees and have them do corporate seminars there. So they will also start planting the idea, and slowly as the idea is planted, then you can go in and go into the third step, which I will talk about next. Then you can also plant in the neighborhoods. Like when you went to door doing book distribution yesterday, people are very relaxed. There could be, you might have met a vice president or a software engineer, but when they are in their home, it's like, the home sweet home. They're all relaxed over there. They'll be more conducive and more open to listening to you. So go in the neighborhood area, because most of the people, especially the young ones, they live there, and they will listen to you, and they can also tell you about others. As Malini Mataji was giving the mantra yesterday, that if somebody listens to you, ask them about who others will be willing to listen to these concepts. So you can do that as well. And then one thing which we started this year, thanks to Govinda Das Prabhu, is that after we give them a Srimad Bhagavatam, we go to their home and we install it, and then we tell that after some time of more, giving them prasadam, being in touch with them, we just said, why don't you organize a kirtan in your home and then invite other people from the organization. So they come in there and then we introduce there as well. And actually, Raseshwari Mataji was in one of such sessions that we organized in Foster City where I live, and the person was from my organization, and she gave such a wonderful lecture, such an amazing lecture, that one of the ladies on coming back, she said, I want to get initiated. I want to get initiated. She had no idea about initiation. She had just, somehow she got that, no idea of a guru, but she was, I want to get initiated from your guru. I was like, hold on. We don't rush. We plant, but we plant meticulously, right? So the first mudra was that you connect lovingly. The second one is that you plant meticulously. We have to be very, very careful about doing that. And who are you going to target? What should be your target people? Everybody. Chaturvidha bhajante mam, jana sukritano arjuna, artho jigyasu artharthi, gyani cha bharat rishabha. So everybody, those who are seeking, those who are not seeking, those who are knowledgeable, those who are not knowledgeable, you will go and target everybody out there. Then after working for them for 9 long months, then you go and there's time for you now to do the harvesting. So harvesting is a little bit involved, in by way of mudras that you do. And I can see she's already ready to harvest. Look at her, very good. No, I like your enthusiasm. That's how you should be doing. So put your hand. So depending on whether you're left-hander or you're right-hander. So you put your left, if you're right-hander, put your left hand under your knee, under your chin, and then you take your right hand and then you cut 1, 2, and 3. Okay? 1, 2, and 3. So with a sickle, you cut and you harvest your crops. Okay? So talking about crops and talking about harvestation, there will be 2 types of people who will be harvesting. They will be the people who you are nurturing. You have spent time with them and for 9 months. So they will be harvesting all the devotional service that you have invested on, all the time that you invested. They will be the ones who will take the book from you, right? And then what are we harvesting? Well, it was our idea. It was our desire to spread Krishna consciousness. So when they harvest, indirectly you are also harvesting the crop, right? And then of course, last but not the least, every plan, every project requires some Lakshmi. So this is also a time for you that, you can harvest your Lakshmi. You can ask for them for Lakshmi at that point in time. And when it comes to Lakshmi, you can think big. Remember, you can think big. These are corporations, they are people, they got bonuses, they got promotions, they got all kinds of things. They have money. They just don't have time. They have money. So don't hesitate. Prabhupada never hesitated. He sent Shyam Sundar Prabhu to go and talk to the Beatles, like ask him for money, and he thought it was beyond and impossible, but it is possible. So always think big. Remember the Aladdin factor, right? So have you read the story of Aladdin, kids? Do you know Aladdin? Right? You know, so what was he doing? Into the microphone, really quickly. Can somebody help him? Technical team.
So, Aladdin, he got a magic...
Hold it closer.
Huh?
Hold it closer to your mouth.
He got a magic bottle what had a witch in it. So if he didn't give like work to the witch, he wouldn't like...
He would rub it and a genie
Yeah.
would come out and he
Yeah.
would say, what do you want, right?
Yeah.
Very good, right? So be a master asker. Remember to ask. So ask everybody. Don't hesitate in asking. Don't hesitate. And we have a variety of programs where they can contribute. If they are not buying a book, that's fine. You could tell them, how can you help our project? Talk to them about Modal Gita coming up, talk to them about helping the Vedic Academy, Kids Sankirtan and all. So they will give, they will happily give, because it also removes the guilt from their heart. And also remember, when you're a master asker, you should also ask Krishna to help you in this endeavor. Without that part of it, no endeavor is going to be successful. So asking also goes in that particular direction. And then when you're asking for money, remember the party line that we did, that we don't ask for money, we don't need the money, but only the reason is that it's an ancient tradition, and then you give money in return for something spiritual that you got. It connects you to the previous acharyas who have handed down this information over the generations, right? And allows you to delve deeper into the knowledge. So that's their party line when you do that, and they buy it. Close quickly. If you don't close the deal with them, then Maya will close. And how does Maya come in? It comes in the form of a call from the boss, a meeting that they have to go to. Somebody walks into the room, so you have to really close the deal with them really quickly, and deliver as soon as possible. And give the books to them, but then promise you'll come to their home because you want to talk more in a much safer environment over there. Then the last step is that you sustain forever, and which is that you take this right hand and then you put your left on top of it. So that's the symbol, that's a mudra for sustaining forever. And how do you sustain them? The first sustaining is that you have to sustain your relationship with them that you build for 9 months. So when you are successful and you have distributed so many books and collected lots of Lakshmi, then you have to share your success with them. Remember to go back and tell them that you met your target of $1 million or whatever, and it was because of them. So share your success with them, and then continue, to follow up. And follow up is very easy to do in corporate America because they are there. You go to work every day, and they also come there to work. It's not like it's door to door. You have to make the trip again. You don't meet them and things like that. It's much easier to do follow-ups. So there, have a sustained giving. Have a study trickle, Shavnadi Jal, Vedic study groups, blogs, conduct classes, so on and so forth. Dinners, kirtans, whatever you want to have. And I'd like to part with this thought in your mind that always remember the rule of 250. And the rule of 250 basically says that when you are talking to a customer, you are actually potentially talking to 250 customers, because a person on an average invites 250 people to a funeral and 250 people to a wedding. And they, in general, know 250 people intimately. So if you make a good impression on somebody, they will go and tell good things about you to 250 people, which are potential Bhagavatam candidates and potential Krishna consciousness candidates. Similarly, if you don't behave properly with them, then they also go and tell it to 250 people. So there's a rule of 250. Do you want to use it or you want to lose it? Because of that, that's entirely in your hands. So I'll stop over here and open it up for questions. Any thoughts, any suggestions that we have?
I have one question. Can you give an idea about think big when it comes to asking? Just give us some ideas. What is big here?
Thank you very much for asking that question, because it opened my eyes. I am a very methodical and a mathematical person, so I would like to go, so if salary equal to $1,000, they can give 10% of that, which is 100. If salary is equal to $1 million, they will get 10%. So I would target the vice presidents, which is a good thing to do because they are in most needs of Krishna consciousness. But when it comes to the heart can be large any place in the hierarchy of the organization. And a couple of words that I use, and I make it fun for them. For example, when they are promoted, and if they gave me $500 last year, and they got promoted, and I'll go and sell, oh, congratulations for promotions, and now, this and that, and then I'll say, so now your contribution is going to increase because you got the promotion. So I'll just do that. Or, I will just tell them that, open your heart. And I said that to one person, open your heart, and really it worked. And I noticed that as soon as he opened the heart, he gave me a really big amount. And then he started getting promotions one after other. And every time he got promoted, I would say, that's because you brought the Bhagavatam and you kept the Bhagavatam in your home. See, it's working. I told you, see, it's working. And every promotion, he's increasing his contribution as well. So that happens. So I have asked people, the maximum I have asked people is like, can you give me $5,000? And they gave, like that. So maybe I need to think even bigger. Like that.
But what is the average amount that...
The average amount people will give, it will be $250 because they see the Bhagavatam and they will give $250. The least, and I have a real quick story to tell you about the least as well, is that I went and I was like, I'm doing book distribution, I'm into spiritualism and all that, and here's the Bhagavad Gita for you. And by the way, when you're displaying the Bhagavad Gita, you have to be bold enough and then display it nicely like that in your office. And I took a Bhagavad Gita to him and I said that, this, and that, and all that, relieving stress and all that. He said, okay, so are you going to selling it to me? No, I don't sell it. Even 1 cent is fine. And he gave me 1 cent. And the next year when I went there, Malini, how are you doing for time? Am I over? Am I done? Am I way beyond?
We have 3 more minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, that's good. Every year I have gone like 20 minutes over. So 3 minutes over. So I went and he gave me 1 cent. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I was very new into this. So I went and I put, $19, from my side and said, okay, that's a Bhagavad Gita, let me put that. And then next year, it was, Malini, you'll remember Guruma said about Bhagavatam sets, you have to distribute Bhagavatam. So I was going from office to office, and I was talking to them about the Srimad Bhagavatam sets. And I was like, I came to his office, I was like, I'll skip that. I won't go into his office. But then I said, heck what, I should ask. I should go in and I should ask. So I went inside, and a year had passed. The guy had got married. And he had got promoted as well. And so I went in, and you will not believe, he said, how much is it for? And I was like, I'm not going to say 1 cent. Malini will start having transcendental stress if I sell a Bhagavatam for 1 cent. So I told him the price at that time, and he said, do you take credit cards? And I said, yes, we do. And in 3 minutes flat, the transaction was over. And that Bhagavatam, he was ripe at that time, ripe fruit. 1 year took him to ripen. And he got the Sukriti of giving. He was like, I'd always tell him the math. I tell him you were lacking Sukriti by only 1 cent. And you did that and you got into it. And today he has at least $20,000 he has given us, by contributions like that. Yeah, he does that. Go ahead, yes, please. Oh, it's not. It's on to take this.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
I was having a lot of thoughts because at work, it's work.
Yes.
And work means like, we fight with people, people fight with us, or like, there is managers, directors, because if you're, little casual or inattentive, then we need to be like, we're at work, we have to be like at work.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's where I was not able to put the things together.
That's a very good question and a very valid concern.
Yeah,
but
I also add a little bit more that, a couple of friends, who I approached, they gave me the indirect indication, through my, my other close friends, we should not do this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, actually, I did one time, like, I was leaving my job and I gave Bhagavad Gita to the manager. So I didn't, because I faced this situation, I was doing it towards the end when I was leaving the job. So he was about to tell me we should not do this, but because I'm leaving the job, so he didn't say. That's one part. And the second part is, we try to be nice with the people, and it is not as safe, I feel, like when you're trying to be nice, especially at the work. So these are the thoughts I'm having.
Yeah, the thoughts, and they're very valid concerns there. So one of the things that Krishna tells to Arjun is that tasmat sarvesu kaleshu mam anusvara yuddhasa. So he's saying yuddha, and but that yuddha is always there in corporate America, wherever we work, there is fight going on there. So one of the things that we also have to keep in mind is that we have to maintain a balance. Work is work. That's why they say sthane sthita. Wherever you are, stay in that position. You're not going to say that, I used to be a good software programmer, but now I'm going to go down several notches because now I'm into devotional service. No, actually you should become an even better software programmer. You should be, like I said, that, how do people perceive you? You should not perceive you as a person that you took to devotional service because you are a loser. You were not getting the promotion, so that's why I've taken to that. No, it's a superior intelligence. We all know that, right? It's superior intelligence. So go that with with conditioned mind. People will have all kinds of opinions. People have thrown Mukharvind and I out of their houses. That didn't mean that we stopped doing door-to-door book distribution. So you will find negative, you will find positive, Take on the negatives as well, pray to Krishna, and you go along. And if the person was about to tell you, that's fine, honor their thing and tell them not to. In fact, I once went, I was doing the same thing, that I found a very positive person and said, do you know some other positive person? Because it's safe harbor, ripe fruits. So he said, yeah, that person, he is amazing. You go there and he will give you a huge donation. So I went there with stars in my eyes into his office and said, I just want to talk to you about some book distribution. Is it a good time to talk? He said, no. And I did not know how to get out of his office. So you should also have some nice party lines, some nice lines on how you make the exit out of the door. If somebody is saying like that, you said, yes, I always respect their objections. Always respect the objections, and then say that, we say that when we have conflicts, even in office, we agree to disagree. Smile and then come out. Leave with a good impression. Because in any case, he's biased in mind. He's not. Let Krishna cook that fruit like that. So that takes care of that question. And I'm available to answer all your questions during the lunch time, because I see Kameshwari Mati is there, and this year I want to be good and not encroach upon her time. So thank you so much for that. If you can just quickly give me the 4 mudras, then I can, rest nicely. So first was connect lovingly. Second one was plant meticulously. See, she's doing it already. And then the third one was harvest carefully. And the fourth one was sustain forever. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, Malini Mataji, for the time.
Thank you so much, Shraddha Mataji. There is so much more that she can offer, but she just wanted to give a few principles for you to take. And she's available after the seminar in the evening as well. So if you have any particular questions that you have, you can contact Shraddha Mataji. And if you don't see her, you can ask Mukharvind Prabhu, and he will find where she is. So thank you so much, Shraddha Mataji. This was a wonderful presentation.